Silence is not a sign of weakness. It is in fact one of the strongest tools you can wield in life. Many of us are taught to speak our minds, to defend ourselves, to react immediately when faced with something that bothers us. Society often associates silence with passivity, with being silent because we have no power to speak, but silence when chosen consciously is far from being an act of submission. It is the quiet assertion of control. By remaining silent, you exercise power over your emotions, over your reactions, and most importantly, over the situation itself. In those moments when life presses in on you, when someone criticizes you unfairly, when someone challenges your beliefs, or when you feel unjustly treated, your initial instinct may be to speak up, to defend yourself, or to lash out in frustration. This is the natural response driven by the need to protect your ego, to stand your ground. But here's the truth. The more you react in those moments, the more you invite the noise of the world to dictate how you feel. You hand over your peace of mind to someone or something else. But by choosing silence, you take back that power. You choose not to allow anyone or anything to disturb the calm you've cultivated within. There is power in the ability to pause before speaking, to allow space for your emotions to settle before reacting. This simple act can often reveal more than any words ever could. Think about how many times you've seen someone lose their temper or say something they later regret. It's all too common in moments of heated emotion. But by remaining silent, you give yourself the time you need to think, to process, and to decide what, if anything, needs to be said. This is not about suppressing your feelings or bottling up your emotions. Rather, it's about choosing not to let those emotions control you in the heat of the moment. In fact, silence often speaks volumes. People notice when you can stay composed, when you can hold your ground without having to shout, argue, or prove a point. There's a certain strength in choosing not to engage, in standing firm without saying a word. It tells others that you are secure in yourself, that you don't need their approval or validation to feel worthy. Your silence becomes a powerful statement of self-confidence and emotional maturity. In a world that is quick to react and even quicker to judge, silence is often a revolutionary act. It's a choice that says, I am not going to be moved by external noise. I will maintain my peace. Moreover, silence can be a tool for self-reflection. When you hold back from responding immediately, you give yourself the space to consider all angles of a situation. You can assess the situation more objectively without the cloud of emotion clouding your judgment. This pause allows you to make more thoughtful decisions, to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. In many ways, silence can be the foundation of thoughtful action. You don't always need to react in the moment. Sometimes it's better to take a step back, breathe, and consider the best course of action. This is a practice of emotional discipline, one that allows you to act strategically rather than impulsively. And let's not forget how powerful it is to be present in a situation without feeling the need to add your voice to every conversation or disagreement. Sometimes the greatest power you can show is the ability to listen, to observe, and to remain unmoved. The person who is constantly speaking or defending themselves is often seen as insecure, desperate for validation. But the person who stands quietly, listening, taking in the situation without needing to dominate the conversation, this person exudes a quiet confidence that is far more commanding. When you remain silent, you are in essence removing yourself from the cycle of reaction. Instead of allowing someone else's words or actions to push you into a response, you take control of your own state of mind. You choose to rise above the noise and remain grounded in your own peace. And this is the essence of strength, the ability to remain calm in the face of chaos, the ability to stay grounded in your own principles, regardless of the external circumstances. Over time, this practice of choosing silence can transform you. You will find that the things that once upset you or provoked you no longer have the same effect. You become less reactive, more intentional in your actions and responses. Life's challenges don't feel as overwhelming because you've learned the art of composure. And as you grow in this discipline, you'll begin to notice that the people around you will respect you more. Not because you are always speaking, but because you know when to remain silent. In fact, your silence will often leave others searching for answers. They will wonder why you didn't respond as expected, why you didn't react the way they anticipated. And in this space, you regain control. You don't need to explain yourself or justify your actions. Your silence speaks for itself. It says that you are not easily rattled, that you are someone who understands the true power of emotional control. The strength of silence is not always obvious in the moment, but over time it becomes clear. It is in those moments when you resist the urge to react, when you choose silence over conflict, that you begin to see the depth of your own power. And when you can act with such poise, you send a message not just to others but to yourself, that you are in charge. You are the master of your emotions, the director of your responses, and the creator of your peace. Silence in this sense becomes a powerful tool for building both inner strengths and outer respect. So in moments of difficulty or tension, remember, silence is not a sign of weakness. It is in fact your strongest and most deliberate response. When nothing bothers you, when you can remain calm and composed, you demonstrate a power that no argument or conflict can ever take away. When you remain composed in difficult situations, you send a clear message to those around you. You are in control of yourself, and you do not let the chaos of the world dictate your peace. Composure commands respect, not the kind of respect that comes from demanding attention, but the kind that is earned quietly through your actions and your calm demeanor. People take notice when you refuse to be swept up in the emotional tides that others seem to drown in. There is something inherently powerful about maintaining your ground, even when others are losing theirs. Think about how often in life we encounter tension, whether in our personal relationships, at work, or even just in the daily interactions we have with others. The pressure to react to every slight or every disagreement can feel overwhelming. Society seems to reward those who react the quickest, the loudest, the most dramatically. Yet when you choose to remain composed, you defy this expectation. You demonstrate that you are not a puppet to your emotions, that you are not driven by every passing thought or every sharp word thrown in your direction. Instead, you remain grounded in your values, unshaken by the storm around you, and in doing so you gain the respect of those who witness this strength. In fact, composure often exudes more authority than any loud argument or defensive outburst could ever hope to achieve. When you remain calm, people sense that you are someone who does not act out of impulse or emotion. You are someone who thinks carefully, who considers every situation before responding. This level-headedness draws others to you. It makes them respect your judgment, your ability to see the bigger picture, and your capacity to handle stress without crumbling under pressure. There's a wisdom in composure that cannot be faked. You can try to appear calm, but true composure comes from a deep understanding of yourself and the world around you. It comes from knowing that you don't need to prove yourself with every word or action. You understand that sometimes the greatest strength is the strength to remain silent, to remain still, to simply let the moment pass without engaging in a way that would only add fuel to the fire. When you can do this, you become someone who commands respect naturally, not because you seek it, but because your actions speak louder than any words ever could. Composure also provides a level of emotional distance that allows you to see the situation for what it truly is, not what it feels like in the heat of the moment. It's easy to be caught up in the drama of a disagreement, to be swept away by the intensity of the emotions involved. But when you remain composed, you detach yourself from that emotional whirlwind, and in doing so you gain clarity. You see that many of the things that upset us in the moment are temporary, fleeting even, and they don't deserve the energy we're so often quick to give them. In this space of emotional distance, you can make better decisions, respond more thoughtfully, and act with a level of wisdom that others can only admire. When you choose to be composed, you also teach others how to behave around you. People tend to mirror the energy of those they interact with.
So,
If you enter a conversation with anger or frustration, you're likely to provoke those same emotions in others. But if you come into a situation with calmness, with an air of composure, others will often match that energy. They will adjust to the tone you set. This is not manipulation. This is the natural result of creating an environment where respect is the standard, not the exception. By maintaining composure, you create an atmosphere that fosters understanding, cooperation, and peace rather than conflict and discord. And in these moments of composure, you reveal your true strength. Strength is not just about standing tall and pushing through adversity. It is also about knowing when to bend and when to stay firm. Composure teaches you the art of balance. You learn how to adapt to situations without losing your sense of self. You learn to navigate difficult conversations with grace, not defensiveness. You learn to withstand criticism without letting it erode your confidence or a sense of purpose. In this way, composure becomes a shield, not a wall, protecting your emotional energy without isolating you from the world. Over time, people will come to recognize this quality in you. They will see that you are someone who doesn't engage in petty squabbles or reactive arguments. You won't raise your voice in frustration or lower yourself to childish behavior. Instead, you will maintain a calm exterior, one that reveals a deep inner confidence that needs no external validation. This will naturally earn you the respect of those around you. You have a retinue of expected respect of those around you. People will come to rely on your steady presence, knowing that when things get difficult, you are the one they can turn to for guidance, for wisdom, or simply for a quiet strength in the face of chaos. This is the true essence of respect, when others recognize your ability to remain composed, not because it's easy, but because it is a conscious choice, a choice that reflects both your maturity and your strength of character. You earn their admiration not by shouting the loudest or winning the most arguments, but by your ability to remain calm, cool, and collected no matter the circumstances. Composure in the end becomes a quiet form of power. It is not flashy or showy, but it is deeply impactful. And when you cultivate this power, you become a force to be reckoned with, not because you demand attention, but because you effortlessly command it through your presence, your poise, and your unwavering ability to maintain control over your emotions. In a world that constantly bombards us with distractions, noise, and demands, there is a certain peace that comes from choosing to protect your inner world. Too often we allow the external chaos to dictate how we feel, react, and navigate life. We let the opinions of others, the pressures of our environment, and the fast pace of modern life infiltrate our minds, leaving little room for quiet reflection or personal peace. But what if instead of allowing all that noise to overwhelm us, we decided to focus inward to prioritize our peace above all else? What if we made the conscious choice to protect our mental space from the outside world? This choice isn't always easy. We live in a society that encourages constant busyness, constant engagement, constant noise. From the moment we wake up, we are surrounded by information, texts, emails, news, social media updates. The expectation is that we are always available, always responsive, always engaged. And in this constant state of alertness, we begin to lose touch with ourselves. We become reactive rather than thoughtful, hurried rather than intention. We allow the noise to drown out our inner voice, our true desires, and our sense of purpose. But in choosing to protect your mental space, you regain control over your life. You no longer allow external factors to determine your emotional state. Instead, you create a space for peace, clarity, and intentional action. By deciding to act as if nothing bothers you, you take the first step toward protecting this mental peace. It's not about denying your feelings or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about choosing not to be governed by every external circumstance. It's about understanding that you can only control your response to the world, not the world itself. The world will always have its noise, its demands, its distractions, but you don't have to let it invade your mind and soul. By prioritizing your peace, you create a buffer between yourself and the turbulence around you. And in this buffer you find strength, you find clarity, you find your true self. The idea of protecting your mental space goes beyond simply managing stress or avoiding negative emotions. It's about creating a lifestyle that values your inner world as much as, if not more than, the external world. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, be more, and achieve more, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the hustle, the competition, and the pursuit of success. And in doing so, we forget to take care of our own mind. We forget to give ourselves space to breathe, to reflect, and to simply be. But when we make the decision to protect our mental space, we prioritize our well-being. We give ourselves the gift of solitude, of stillness, of quiet reflection. And in this space we reconnect with who we are, what we want, and how we want to live. This focus on inner peace also helps to reduce the emotional burden we often carry. When we constantly react to the noise of the world, whether it's someone else's anger, judgment, or negativity, we take on their emotional weight. We allow their issues, their opinions, and their energy to affect us, often without even realizing it. But when we choose to act as if nothing bothers us, we stop taking on that emotional baggage. We understand that someone else's negative energy is theirs to carry, not ours. We no longer allow their problems or negativity to hijack our peace of mind. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to others. Rather, it means we recognize the importance of maintaining our own emotional balance. We choose to protect our mental space, not just for our own sake, but for the sake of those around us as well. In many ways, protecting your mental space is an act of self-respect. It's about setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. It's about recognizing that you don't have to be constantly available, constantly engaged, constantly involved in everything around you. You have the right to say no, to step back, and to preserve your mental well-being. In doing so, you create a life that is more intentional, more focused, and more aligned with your true values. You are no longer a passive participant in the chaos of life. You become an active creator of your own peace and happiness. Furthermore, by protecting your mental space, you gain the ability to respond thoughtfully to the world around you. When you're constantly reacting to external pressures and distractions, you become a slave to your emotions, to the opinions of others, and to the circumstances that surround you. But when you choose to protect your inner peace, you take back the power to respond with intention. You can choose how to engage, when to speak, and when to remain silent. You can decide what you allow to affect you, and what you choose to let go of. In this way, you become a master of your own emotional state, and in turn a master of your life. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges or difficult emotions. Life will still throw its curveballs, and there will be moments of frustration, sadness, or anger. But when you have cultivated the habit of protecting your mental space, you approach these challenges from a place of strength. You don't let them consume you. You don't let them dictate how you feel. Instead, you face them with the clarity and composure that comes from a mind that is grounded in peace. And through this process, you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You learn that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. At the end of the day, your peace of mind is one of the most valuable assets you have. It's the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. When you protect your mental space, you give yourself the opportunity to live a life that is truly your own, one that is not constantly influenced by the noise of the world, but guided by the calm of your inner strength. You create the space for happiness, for growth, and for the clarity needed to make the best decisions for your life. And that is a power no one can take